Hey everybody, this is Marina, your podcast host at Unbossed. Here we go. At Unbossed, I interview amazing women in underrepresented fields. There is so much woman power in the world that I want to provide these women a platform to tell their story. Please connect with us at www.unbossed.io and please consider supporting by sharing, liking, and commenting the podcast. Tell all your Netflix friends and family about it. Submit a recommendation for our guest. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app and YouTube. Donate by clicking on the anchor link and help me continue to deliver your content. I hope you enjoy and welcome to the show. Co-founder and Chief Creative Officer at see-ka-lo-fia, Ari Krzyzek helps Femtech DTC and women-led companies craft a brand that delights their customers beyond a pretty design, deliver no-brainer user experience, and getting them the clarity they need for their business to thrive online. She has over 10 years of branding and design experience, a certified brand strategist and UX expert. She has transformed business visions into a tangible form that helps set their business apart from their competitors. As her diverse client roster attests, the one constant in her work is spot-on design for major impact every time. Additionally, she serves as a design consultant, mentor, and professional peer in support of fellow female entrepreneurs through the #1 ranked private business incubator in the world, 1871 Chicago, Interaction Design Foundation, and ADPlist. Welcome, Ari. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unbossed. I have a special guest today for you, and a special day because it is my birthday. So please join me in celebrating my birthday. Ask me any questions about the podcast, interact with me. But before we get into birthday celebrations, I want to introduce Ari Krzyzek. She is co-founder and chief creative officer at see-ka-lo-fia. Welcome.
Hey, Marina, happy birthday.
Thank you. And thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Yes, I know it's like a very chilly snowstorm day and also your birthday and you make the time to do this. I'm honored to be in here.
Absolutely. There's I don't know, how many feet of snow are there for you? I think I have at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, at least, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't imagine doing anything else on my birthday except doing this podcast. So I'm super excited to have you on, and we're going to talk about being a creative officer and your awesome story. But first, let me just disclose to my audience and being super transparent, saying that actually I did not know how to pronounce Chykalophia. At first, when I saw it, it's spelled Chykalopia. I will add all of the links to the podcast description so you can get into their website and check out Ari's profile as well as her LinkedIn account. Ari, tell us a story about you and what was your upbringing?
Oh, my upbringing. Recently I've been really looking at this when a good friend of mine actually asked me, Ari, do you have a personal philosophy? And I told her, I don't even know what that is. It sounds like beyond, my intellectual, I feel like, because, you only hear, people like Gandhi and, these amazing, talented and super bright people have personal philosophy, but apparently it really nailed down into who you really are, right? What your purpose and then what really drive you. And to me, this really tied so close with my upbringing. Gosh, looking back, I would say I was living in a very, very simple household. My parents, both my mom and my dad, they didn't get the luxury of going to, higher education, right? My dad actually dropped out of elementary school while my mom dropped out of middle school. So it was really big that they wanted their first daughter and firstborn, aka me, right, to have all of these luxury of education, of getting that opportunity that will help me in my life, basically. So I was growing up in a very modest family that they basically strive forward every day. I wouldn't have it any other way, because through them, I learned so many different things. I think we all are, right? With our upbringing, with our, parents, or single parent, or even like our surrounding, that truly do make up who we are today.
Yeah, I love that. And you did grow up in Indonesia.
Yes.
And so you're an immigrant like
Yes.
me. When did you? I was like, immigrant? I don't know. I don't like that word anymore. I need to find another word. But naturalized citizen. I like to say that as well. When did you come to the United States?
2011. So that is honestly a very interesting time for me, because I realized I needed to go outside of my comfort zone. I was literally in Bali,
Yeah.
right? I just got back from Poland at that time. I was having this.
Wait, what?
Okay, let's
You were
backtrack.
living wait, what? You were living in Bali and you decided to leave Bali?
Yes, yes, I know. Shocking, especially in this
Wait,
winter
what?
season, right? Why am I
I
here?
know. What? What? You choose Chicago? Why did you tell me this? No, I'm never going to let it go. Okay, let's assume, that for some reason you decided to leave. Tell me why did we leave Bali? Honestly,
Yeah.
because I've never been, but I've seen picture, I've heard experiences.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. What was like growing up there, and what was the motivation of exploring other parts of the world?
Bali is beautiful. That's a fact, right? I mean, with the culture, with, all the different beaches that we have, you name it. What kind of beaches that you want? You have like black sand, white sand, the mix of it. We have everything.
Yeah.
But, being in it as people who live in the island day to day versus tourists coming in and enjoying the island was a completely separate experience, right?
Yes. And I can understand that from the Dominican side as well, where we live, like a person living in the island is different than just going there and visiting the part. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
What was I? I was going to say.
Yes, sorry, I interrupted you, but I wanted to also relate to you. But you were saying that the experience is different, and living there maybe for you was different than just like visiting, right?
Exactly.
And so what was that like for you?
Well, for those who don't know, Balinese culture, which where I grew up with, and I am a Balinese as well, our culture is very much tied with patriarchal culture, right? So everything revolves around men. So growing up, I tend to see, the men as the sole person doing the majority of things for the family, like going to work, getting a job, or even contributing financial income to the family and making decisions for all of the things in the family, or maybe not all of this, most of them, right? And wherever you look, you'll notice that so and so have a son celebration, like sometimes even like brag and boast about it. And for those who have daughters, people tend to look down on them simply because they have daughters, and they're not going to have a son who will carry the lineage, which I thought at the time it's just not fair, right? It's really not fair. However, though, my parents, for them, it was really modest the way they're really looking at things in life, right? I mean, for them, having either boys or girls, it's equal. So I learned equality from them, really seeing like, how do you treat your daughters? How do you treat your sons, right? How do you project your vision for the kids that you have in your household? So with that, my parents just honestly wanting to make sure that I have the education I needed. I think that's their main big thing, right? I want you to succeed. I don't want you to be like us, really grinding every day, just trying to make, make sure that there's food on the table. So I learned a lot from them in terms of hard work as well. And then, growing up, I have 2 younger sisters, and it is not easy to be the firstborn when you have 2 younger sisters constantly looking up to you. And especially also your parents keep telling, don't do weird things. Your sister's gonna follow you. So be the example for them. It's like, man, that is like such a heavy burden on my shoulder. But I think, I failed to realize at that time that my parents really set me up for leadership, right? That I eventually needed right now in building my business. I'm gonna say this. I really hated my experiences as a big sister back then because I wasn't sure what am I doing. I tend to share or been like oversharing and give up most of the things that I like for my sisters because they wanted what I have, right? I think it's like a problem for a lot of older siblings. But through that experience, you finally realize now looking back, it's actually good for you because your parents is really setting you for success. They want you to learn how to be, well, the leader, essentially, right? The example that other people can look up to.
Love it. I really love that. And also you mentioned like last time you saw your mom while she was in this patriarchal society. She was really running things for all of you because you mentioned your dad was traveling a lot. So tell me a little bit about that role model, both of them, and how they played a influence in you and what do you do today?
That's a good question. One thing to correct though, my dad didn't travel a lot. He actually, he is a tour guide in a sense that he is like out a lot. But in terms of like a role between my mom and my dad, I think it's really interesting to see the difference in how they, educate us and also raising me and my sisters, right? It's really clear in terms of like their style of parenting. My mom is like this person who always expect perfection. And I think part of my perfectionist thing, I think I got that from my mom. So I think for her is that really setting expectation is big for her and really, get things done. I really do learn that from her and just like really aiming towards what it is that you truly want, right? If you want something, figure it out and then create a plan and work towards that particular goal. I learned that from her. Whereas, from my dad, I think I learned a lot of the ways to, take some time to really look at your surroundings and also be social with others. My dad is very much big in that. He's like, one of those people in the community that knows everybody. Like when I mean everybody, like literally everybody. He knows like, people from different communities or even like people in the political backgrounds and stuff like that. I was like, how do you even know these people? And then he says, well, I talked to them. I was like, so you should try it again too. What? It's just so easily for him to just like say it and then doing it because I think he's so extroverted, right? So I was struggling a little bit like, how do you become this person who can be relatable to others? And the key was very simple. You just listen. And then if you hear something that truly excites you, elaborate on that. Otherwise, just be interested. So, that are just like a couple of different things that I learned from both of my parents. I also learned big thing from my dad, where he tend to really see things in a bigger picture, right? I think for him to be able to share this because he had experience in the past going through different islands in Indonesia. He used to work for one of the big, first companies in Indonesia called Indo Food, and he got a chance to travel all across Indonesia's islands. So he has a lot more vision in terms of like different cultures and different things that people do in specific islands or even, habitat as well. So I think from him, I learned to really see that other people have their own thinking, have their own way of doing things, right? Being empathetic, and opening yourself to just be an open-minded person because you're not the only person thinking of one thing. Perhaps there's another, people out there who basically do something exactly the same as you, but their approach could be completely different, right? Every one of us has our own unique approach and our uniqueness.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so cool. What a cool experience and what a cool couple too. Like very opposite in some ways. I'm just curious about like what were some of the things that you think they agreed upon, like while they were being different, what were they agreed upon in terms of values? I heard like a value was equality, right? Like having girls and giving you that sense of like you can do it as well. Are there other
Yeah.
values that they give that they both agreed upon? And
Well, it's initially, this is the one thing that they have some argument on, to be honest with you. My mom was very adamant in, getting me to find a scholarship, right? To fund
okay,
to fund me
yes,
going to college, essentially, because I
yes,
didn't know what I wanted to be, Marina. Even though I
yeah,
loved like listening to things around art and advertising and seeing those advertisement that we see on TVs as we were growing up, and really thinking, how did they even come up with this concept and stuff like that. I didn't even know what I wanted, even though I feel like some interest towards that. But because I'm
yeah,
in the environment that is filled with all things tourism, like every single person in my family are in tourism, so I don't really have like a role model like beyond tourism. So I was like, okay, I guess
wow,
that's basically gonna be me, right? At the end of the day, I'll be in it. So my mom was so adamant. It's like, okay, I think you can get this scholarship. I know you can because you know how to, speak English. It's very good. I think you're gonna get it. And my dad was like, great, if she get it, great. But he's not really, hung up on it, right? I think he's like pretty much open to whatever I wanted to do. So my mom wasn't really that open at the time. But when I did turn down the scholarship, though, I told my parents that I wanted to be a designer. My mom was a little bit upset of that because she has this vision in her mind, right? Okay, plan, and then things happen the way it should. And then when things doesn't happen the way it should, she's like freaking out. But I think they probably talk. Obviously, I'm pretty sure my parents talk it out and finally come down to an agreement that they will be supporting me on my journey doing this. Especially my dad, because he did truly support like whatever makes me feel good, right? Whatever that I feel I can strive forward, because I'm the one going to be, in this path, not them, right? So
yeah,
that was the big
yeah.
realization that we had together, even though we don't really, communicate it. I guess like in a nice way, we tend to yell a lot. I think it's like a very Southeast Asian thing. It's like, no, I don't want this, I don't want that. It's like, but hey, we at the end of the day, all good. And then we get to the same page.
That's so funny because you're so quiet and very like sweet. I am low key scared right now of I'm like, what? You yell and you like get boisterous and
Okay,
that
here's
is
the
like,
thing.
what's
So hang on, Marina. One of those like telenovelas where you see people who will be just like yelling and things like that, and you thought they wasn't like yelling, right? That's how we talk too in Bali. So it's just kind of weird sometimes.
and yeah, probably your friends or partners are like, wait, why are you yelling? You're like, I'm not yelling.
Exactly that.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, that's a cool story. And was it nerve-wracking to wait for that moment in which you were like, I don't know if they're gonna go for this?
Yeah.
And how did you get that courage to tell them that you were not gonna take this scholarship? Like there was a plan.
Yes.
There was a plan,
Yes.
Ari.
Oh man. This definitely takes me back. So going through the rounds of the interviews to get the scholarship, there were 3 rounds of interviews, right? I passed 2, and then my parents were immediately, okay, yes, just one more step to the golden ticket, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, great. But on the actual day of the 3rd round of that interview, I thought to myself, I'm not feeling it. I don't want this like scholarship. And then I was like thinking the whole time, waiting for my turn to get called into the room. I was trying to come up with a plan. Okay, how do I tell the judges that I don't want it? So I was like really like formulating, a plan to do that. And when I realized, okay, I'm just gonna say it. So I told the judges that these really, wasn't my decision. It was my parents' will, technically. And I told them I want to be a graphic designer, and then they're like, "Are you serious? Like, are you serious? You already got it?" And I just like, drop it out. Great. But from all of that though, I think I felt really good when I tell them, right? When I tell them that, I just feel like this is it. This is my moment to finally be able to see the path that I'm supposed to be on. I finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, that's where I want to go. Whereas
Nice.
previously, with all of these things about the tourism and even like the paperwork that I needed to fill out, I don't understand anything from it. I was like, what is this? Like, I'm so clueless. But after I say that I want to be a graphic designer, I just finally feel and embody the confidence I needed. And yeah, that
Yeah.
happened.
I love that. I really love that because my next question was going to be like, how do you know the difference between going after something and like running away from something? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe were you scared or, you didn't feel confident in it and so you were running away from it? But it sounds like it was more like you were running, chasing your dream because you don't only said, I don't want this. You also said, I want to be
Mm-hmm.
X. I love that. I love that story. And that's one of the things that I want, like, also like women and men honestly to practice. Like, if you feel like you're running away from something, try to state like what you want instead and
Yes,
see if that feels good. And if that feels amazing, I think just go for it probably, right?
agreed. Exactly that.
Love it. And so then you came to the States. Tell me a little bit, sorry, to I don't know what moment of this life this was, but tell me a little bit between what happened once you decided to be a graphic designer and then you come into the States and starting your career
Yeah,
and more
yeah,
studies.
sure thing. No,
Yeah.
before I get to that,
Yeah.
after I came out of that room, right, and I go home and I told my parents, the judges actually called me back to the hotel and they told me, hey,
Wow.
Ari, thank you for telling us what you want. I'd like for you to come back to the hotel and would like to introduce you to a graphic designer in house. I was like, what?
That's
That was such
awesome.
a nice gesture. I mean, they didn't have to do that, right? But I think through that particular experience, I met this woman who were the in-house graphic designer at the hotel. I think it was actually, one of the top hotel near the Hilton. And I finally see myself in the future through her, right? And I think
Mhm.
that is such a big, big moment for me to finally realize I finally see a role model and I see myself in the future, doing things that she would be doing. So,
You spoke it into the universe, though. Like you said
yes,
it, you went out there, you said it, you
I
materialized it in
know.
front of you.
Isn't that,
That's
creepy sometimes? But hey, in the good way, right?
yeah, I would say creepy. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Ellen is like, oh, like I have a lot more power than I thought I
I
did.
know.
That's cool.
Yes. Anyway, so that I went to college, obviously, to the Art Institute in Indonesia. And through that 4 years, to be honest, I finally realized, like, okay, what are some of my strengths, right? Sure, I have this big goal to be a graphic designer, but to be honest with you, I didn't know how to draw. So my first 2 years, my first 2 years in art school, to be honest, I was struggling, Marina, but I was crying at night sometimes. Okay, man, I gotta do this homework and I didn't even know what to do with it. I gotta figure it out. I think it truly proved me that whatever it is, I need to get to that goal, right? Whatever I need to do, I gotta figure it out. Even though no, it's not the best work that I produce, but I learned what I learned from that particular exercise or homework or whatnot. So it really did was an interesting experience going to art school, especially when you don't know how to draw. However, a senior in art school told me one thing, or you don't have to be good at everything. Follow your passion and find the one thing that you truly are good at. And I found it. And that thing was that I know exactly when to spot a really great design that truly aligns with either the concept or the messaging and everything, right? So despite of me not knowing how to draw properly, I know how to design, right? It's just that you really need to play towards your strength. And I learned that, maybe in the third year of my time in art school. But for other people, sometimes it took them years to just finally realize, stop wasting time on things that you're never going to be good at, right? Forcing yourself to go towards something that your skill actually lies somewhere else. You need to discover that to make sure that you can feel fulfilled. Because when you do, man, you're definitely going to soar and then, on fire towards that, and you're going to feel good about it.
I love it. That is, yeah. And that's why a lot of the time I don't, the work that I do, I don't call it work, because it's not work. And my husband sometimes asks me, are you still working? I'm like, it's not work. It's just what happens when like you feel good and you're on fire and you just like make it happen. And maybe it's called flow, right? I think a lot of people call it flow.
Yes.
It's like that thing where it's like, you're not pushing paper clips. You're channeling your passions or something.
Agreed. Okay, so that's my years in art school, right? Let's fast forward to the year 2011. Yes, 2011. I got back from Poland. I'm in this relationship with my, longtime pen pal. I met him through college on MSN Messenger. God, I feel so old with that. Right. And I just got back from Poland, to be honest with you, because I needed to file on my fiance visa so that I can go to the United States. I talked with my husband back then. He was my fiance, that we're gonna maybe do some learning a little bit more in the States first, and then maybe eventually when we're ready, we're gonna move to Bali. So that was into
How did you sorry to interrupt, but how did you end up in Poland? Because you were studying in Indonesia, right?
Oh, yes. Gosh, I skip a lot of things. Man, Marina, this is not going to be enough to be covered in just like 45 minutes, right? And I'll try to recap. So I got a scholarship through my time in United States. Through my time in art school, I got a scholarship to go to United States, right? And for a 3-month scholarship with University of Arizona. Now, my longtime pen pal was living in Chicago, and I told him, hey, I'm going to be in Arizona. Let's meet up. And then he said, that's fantastic. I'm going to go to Poland so that I can get my master's degree. And I was like, what? I was actually trying to get, an opportunity to get together with him because I do like him. And then, something happened. He ended up coming to Arizona to meet with me, and we ended up become a couple, and then he proposed to me at the end of the first month that we were together. So there's a lot of different stories behind this, but I ended up spending some time living in Poland to kind of get to know his culture a little bit, his family, and that side of the country. And then just really, open my eyes in terms of traveling and seeing the world. I remember telling my dad, this is before I even, have the chance to get the scholarship. I told my dad, one day, Dad, I'm going to see the world. And he's like, you do that. Go for it. I know he was joking, right? Because I have no idea how I'm going to do that. But, when you really do say things out loud, you share it to the world, share it with just one person. You'll be amazed how the universe really hear that and then plan, some sort of strategies to get you in line with the things that you really want. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. I love that. And there's so much there. 1 month after you met him, you guys are engaged, you move to Poland, and then you come back to Chicago. So let's go. Let's go to that. And by the way, I just noticed you, I didn't just notice. I noticed when I was doing your background that you spent time at Sears Holdings, which I did too. Yes. And I think we actually may have overlapped, but never met. You were in North Street, and I was in the Hoffman Estates office, which super cool to be here and, to have had some similar experiences. Mm-hmm. But you were designing at a couple of places, but I also noticed that you've been mentoring as a brand design or as a designer, right? and then decided to found a company and become a co-founder or a founder. And so what I'm interested in, like shifting maybe gears here, is like, I mean, I hear it from you, like you want to do this thing, right? And how did you make that switch between working in corporate and looking for designs job to like moving into founding the company and doing this other, different role, which is like you're still doing design, but you're also like a co-founder of a company, right? So there's other responsibilities there.
Whoa, okay. Not entirely sure how to answer that because there's going to be a lot of different things that overlap. When I got here to Chicago in 2011, my mission was simple, right? To learn more what I needed to help really support me as a woman entrepreneur, because back then in Bali, like, over a decade ago, there wasn't really resources to do that. Now there is, which is fantastic. But if I were to stay and waiting like 10 years until that happened, I think that might be a little bit too late for me. So I did make it.
So So are you saying that you knew already at that moment that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yes. So because at that time I was already doing graphic design freelance work. So I basically just working online, even though my parents thought that I don't have any job, sort of, right? Anyway, so that happened, but I was honestly just stuck in my position because I didn't see other, women graphic designer who were also doing freelance and didn't have entrepreneur mindset. So I really was looking forward to find some role model or mentor or whatnot that can really push me a little bit more forward. So when I got here, though, it was really nerve-wracking, to be honest with you, because I did not know anybody, right? When you come from your own country and then to a new country, not knowing anybody else besides, your immediate family, or in this case, my in-laws and my husband, I didn't know how to put myself, out there. And I know I needed to, but I was hesitating at that time. But after I got married, my husband immediately asked me, okay, Ari, you're doing design freelance, I'm doing development freelance. Let's, join forces together and let's build a company. So he proposed to me to do that, to build a company right after we got married. And I was like,
he proposed to you twice. He proposed to you when he got married, and he proposed to you when he got married into a company. That's
exactly. Cute. And here's the thing. I think that was a mistake, simply because we just got married, right? And I did not know what I'm getting myself into, to be honest with you. So if you are going to go to a professional relationship with your family or even with your spouse, right, make sure that you know how to really create boundaries between each other and separate that relationship between personal relationship and professional relationship. Anyway, so from there, I was honestly just doing my own thing. I kept doing my design thing, and then he kept doing the development projects under the company. But we weren't really doing business portion or even like the development side of thing or the business planning side of things. Sure, we go to, places like SCORE where you can get some resources and even like mentorship in terms of how do you build a business plan. But we honestly did not know what we were doing. We were like this glorified freelancers under an LLC, right? That's what we were. And it's no joke that we ended up, not making a lot of money, obviously, because we were actually losing money our first couple of years in the business because we don't know what we were doing. We don't know how to set boundaries. We were telling each other what to do, which even makes it more difficult for us as newlywed and also as new business partners, right? Trying to juggle so many different roles in our life. It was honestly very exhausting. But there is a but. I did ended up, going out there because people keep telling us you have to go to networking events, network. So finally, like, okay, sure, I'm gonna do this. And I remember what my dad said, right? Just be interested. To people, go out there. Like, yeah, it's easy for you to say it, but when you start going out there and it's like, oh, okay, should I just leave and go home? I mean, like, I'm already here. It's like, that's just what's true. So I'm glad I did though. I'm glad I did push through and not just like, chicken out and then just leave and go back home. I met incredible people, especially incredible women here in Chicago. There's so many different
Yeah.
places that I would, go and connect with other women and honestly do what my dad told me to do. Just listen to their story and see where you could potentially, provide value, or even honestly just be interested. See if you can resonate with them and take away something that they have gone through in their life, their experiences. I got lucky to be mentored by amazing women in Chicagoland area as well. And that really did shape me to where I am today, to be honest. They showed me ways that I can leverage my strength. They showed me how to really, separate the relationship between the professional and personal relationship when it comes to working with my husband. They also opened doors for me. And that's, I think, the beauty of cultivating these relationships over time, Marina. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I do all of these while also working at Sears because I didn't make any money in my company. I was like, okay, I got to get a job, right? So I ended up getting a job at Sears for 3.5 years while also doing the company as a part-time.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's crazy. Is oh, that is so cool. I like your conviction into that you knew that this is what you were gonna do though. Like that's really cool, and you never gave up on this dream. Why didn't you give up on the dream? I'm just. It was not a true question. So more
Yeah.
like there's all these obstacles and all this like not making money, and there's not like there's never ending like maybe like how do you never see the out
Mm-hmm.
at some like maybe in some instances you don't see the light,
Mm-hmm.
but like what made you stick with it?
There are a couple of reasons, to be honest with you. The one big thing was that I wanted the flexibility of, taking control of what I want to do, right? And working a 9 to 5 job at the time, it didn't give me that flexibility that I needed. But I
Yeah.
stick with it because I needed the money, right? And even when I was interviewed at Sears, I told the manager I'm here for the money, and they're like, "Okay, you're very candid." They're like that. So, and I wasn't joking because I would just want to make sure that hey, are we on the same page or are we not, right? And that gives me the opportunity to also be true to myself. Like I want to make sure that I have enough funding so that I can, quit the job and then move forward with my business full time. That's what I have in mind. And I also wanted to, start building family, right? I want to have kids and I want to make sure that I'm not going to get tied with the 9 to 5 job at a desk or something like that. I want to be able to watch my, kid grow while I also juggle my work, for the better or for worse. And, and, and I think I hold on to that very dearly because I know eventually I'll be able to get there. I also wanted to make sure that I can show up. I think my parents' expectation of me, okay, since you're not living here with us, you're like, going half across the world trying to pursue what you love. You better come back successful, right?
There it is, the mom
I know,
pressure.
right? So, yeah, kind of candid in there. And that's also one of the big things that I hold on to because, in a sense, it gives me the
Good.
inspiration, right? But in a
Yeah,
way, also, I need to not just do this for them, but also for me.
absolutely. That's really cool. I love that you say that. Um, okay, let's talk about see-ka-lo-fia.
Okay.
And how did you start it? Like, when was a good time to jump ship and be like, all right, I'm going all in, I'm doing this, raise a flag, let's go. And then, yeah, tell me a little bit of the beginnings of the
Yeah.
company.
So when my husband and I decided to build Chykalophia, I honestly wasn't sure, right, what we were doing. But we keep on going. We were trying to, okay, like maybe we can try this, we can try that. We were trying so many different things and I didn't see any result, right? We weren't growing at all. And I also realized that in order to build a company, we also need the funding to move things forward. We need to pay for like, membership fee or advertising or even like marketing pieces. So I told my husband, I'm gonna take this part-time and I'm gonna get myself a job so that I can use the money to fund the company. And it was like, okay, let's do that. So I feel like the first couple of years, to be honest with you, it was a hot mess, especially for first-time entrepreneur like me, right?
Yeah.
Going back, had I known what I know now, I think we all feel this way, things would be completely different. But I also feel like things happen for a reason, right? And there's this cool quote that I heard recently that say, things happen for you, not to you. It's a really good reminder knowing that everything is already in place, right? You just have to keep pushing and then don't give up as long as you can. Just like, okay, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. Whatever you do, don't stop. And it really do give some perspective, because even though I'm not in the company full time, right, I'm still contributing. I'm still going out there networking during my lunchtime at Sears. Not recommended, definitely. And just like really figure out what can you do while you're doing one thing. And then if you want to build something on the side, right, is there something that you can do in the planning or in the strategy pieces, so that you can feel that you are putting something together in the back of your life before you decided to take the leap and then go full in, right, with your company. So that's it.
This is so relevant. Yeah, this is so relevant for the time, because I feel like any person that I talk to right now, they do have the side hustle. They're trying to build their dream. They're working their remote jobs to make the money to fund their dream and working hard to do that. And I love that you were doing it. Like, you're one of the OGs. You were doing it before it was cool to do it. You were doing it before it was COVID. You were doing it when it was hard, when you had to be in the office. You could not just like, like take meetings and you're at home, and so you have that opportunity to like manage your meetings as you wish. You know what I mean? Like, and so like I love the effort, and I admire your courage and your commitment to that so much. And it just gets me wondering, like, what was the point in which you decided, like, I'm out of Sears, I'm out of my full-time job, and how did you get full in?
That happened after I gave birth, actually. So the first time that I give birth to my son, I have this feeling that, okay, I'm still going to be, in the office and things like that after I finish my maternity leave, and then we'll see how things are going to go, right? But as soon as my maternity leave is over, I was like, I want to be home. I want to be with my, my newborn and everything. And my son, sorry, not my son, my husband was doing all the work while I was working. He was doing the business full time while having, our son in front of him and this ergo baby, what is this thing called? That thing.
The baby.
Yes, the baby carrier thing. And he would send me pictures like, look, he's sleeping and things like that. I was like, I'm missing all of these. And I think at the 6-month mark of my son's, age, I finally realized that I need to get out of Sears. I start seeing, there is some growth in the company. I mean, obviously it's not as big as I want it to be, but there is, a growth that's substantial enough for me that I felt like I need to show up in my company full time. I also started hearing some of our clients get upset, right? Because I didn't deliver things on time, because I have to juggle a lot of different things, being, the first time mom, the work, and then the part-time thing with my company. This was a lot of things for me to juggle at the time. I wasn't sure how to manage it all for the first 6 months. And then I just realized that I either need to quit Sears or I need to stay at Sears and drop my company. I can't be doing everything.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I could have done this before I have my son, but now that I have my son, I can't do everything, right? It's funny how you start to realize, what's important for you, and that help you really make the decision you need to do. And then, yeah, I
Yeah.
called it. I told my husband, I was like, I need to quit Sears' job. And he's like, no, don't say goodbye to our, like, our paycheck.
So like my
I know, right?
to, to health
I
benefits.
know,
To
exactly.
the, but
Exactly.
that's like the trap.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trap right there. And it's so I okay, first of all, I admire you two so much for doing it because I know it happened, but it is the limitation of living in a system in America where there is no public support for people who just don't want to work for corporate America. But anyways, that's my rant about that, and I have a lot more about it. But keep going, sorry. Keep going. So he said no,
Yeah.
and then what happened? Or he said, "Don't do it.
Yeah.
We need the money."
Yeah.
And then what happened?
I was trying to reason with him, and I think at the end of the day, it was obviously my call, right?
Yeah.
And he realized, okay, if we were to do this, then we need to have a plan. And I was like, sure, let's make a plan. But I'm doing this in the next 2 weeks. I was like, crap. So there's a lot of pressure for us too. But I knew in my heart that I need to make this happen, right? And I'm going to have to strive for it, and I'm going to have to figure it out. And it makes me feel fulfilled because I was not happy at the time juggling all, these different things. And I think he knew that at a time as well, and he finally realized, okay, yeah, let's do it. We will figure it out. We'll be fine. We have some savings, even though it wasn't much. But we did it anyway, right? He supported me all the way through that. And as soon as I said that I'm gonna, resign and everything and put on my 2 weeks notice, I felt really good. And on my last day, Marina, I just cannot wait. It's like, bye guys. Wish you all the best and wish me luck. See ya in the other side. It was good, Marina. It was definitely good. But I'm not trying to say that, with all of these excitement and everything's gonna, go on smoothly, right? It obviously wasn't. I quit in 2016, and it has been another interesting year following that, because I was trying to figure, okay, now I'm full time. What do I do, right? What do I need to do
Yeah.
to get some more growth, get more clients, get more revenue, and just really looking at ways that I can contribute to the company in the most efficient way possible, because I also have now the newborn to take care of. So
Yeah, and the baby at home
yes,
and working
yeah.
and business is another big.
Hey, at
Yeah.
least having a newborn was a lot easier than toddler, though. So I'll tell you that, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy, obviously, right? It's never gonna be easy though, because I feel like when you start feeling comfortable, then that means that you're stuck somehow. You need to go after the next, the next levels, the next step that you need to do for your business, your career, or whatnot. Because I think that's where you need to find the opportunity that you can leverage. And I immediately saw that I need to double up the revenue at the time in 2017 or something. So I searched online and try my own, find my own opportunities and resources that I need. How can I get there? And just really equip yourself with the resources that you need that will help you get there. Yeah, I'm going to stop there for now.
Yeah, what worked? Tell me like a few things that, year one, you were like, okay, I've tried a lot of things. What worked?
Being in community, that definitely helped me. So I know, we can't really go to networking events as much like what we had in the past, right? But I would definitely utilize different community groups out there. Maybe there are one that's specifically just for you as a mom and a working mom, right? I mean, there are so many different groups that are very niche right now. And I bet you will find your people there. You will find, the resources that you need to help support your own journey. I would say start from there. Even find one at least, right? Find one, get connected with people who are in the community. And again, be interested in them and just learn from what is it that they have done in the past. Can you apply some of that for your own, personal and professional development and career? And then give back a little bit to build up that connection, that relationship with others.
I love it. What is see-ka-lo-fia? Now, obviously, you've been in the business. You've grown the business. It's 12 years in. Tell me a little bit about the successes you've had at Chykalophia, because we've heard all the struggles in the beginning. Like a true entrepreneur, I'm so like pumped about this. Like
Yeah.
you're like literally one of the true stories. Yeah, what's going on? Like what has been some of the successes you've seen recently, and what is your mission now?
That's really good. So in 2017, I doubled up the revenue from 2017 to 2018, and then 2018 to 2019. Right? We was able to do that because we started having this, you know, resources in a private groups for creative entrepreneurs. I should have seeked that a long time ago, but hey, it's never too late, right? And really learn from what does or what did people who has done this before us did to even sell their agencies, right? Or even like twice their revenue, or even like making more income and profit and maximizing that for their agency. So I was learning a lot from those and applying it for our own company, and we were able to see that growth. And over time in that past year, I was finally, learning how to let go on things. I mean, I'm a designer at heart, right? If I can do it, I can do it fast, Marina. But you can't
Yeah.
be everything when you are running a business, right? And trying to lead the team and trying to also talk to clients and do all the sales. Like, there's a lot on your plate. And
Yes.
it was time for me and my husband to really bring in more people to help us out grow the company. So that's what we did. We went from being, two people company to, I think at that time was 4, and then 4 to 7, and then 7 to 10, and now we're at 12. It was really incredible to see the type of people who came to our team and really helped supporting us along the way. And also learning this new role as, people in the leadership, right? How do I communicate what I need our team to do, and the values that we have as a company, the culture we try to um, build together as a team. It was interesting to learn all of these for ourselves, because I was like, man, at Sears, I would just learn all of these because they just give you, the documentation, and then, you learn from that. But now you're like on the other side trying to compile all this information, trying to really deliver the experience that your people need to learn from you. They look up to you, right? And they see you as inspiration, and how they should also lead their project and own their own, responsibilities in the company. So it was quite interesting experience. I would say I'm still juggling a few other things, but it has been an interesting growth. Yeah.
What is tell me the like obviously your company has evolved in the 12 years, right? Like you said. Give me the pitch for the elevator pitch for see-ka-lo-fia today. Why would people buy into the company or contact you? If they need help with an agency.
Yeah. So my company, Chykalophia, is a digital brand consultancy. We are here in Evanston, a little bit, south of Chicago. What we do here, honestly, we help women-led brands, primarily those who are in Femtech space or D2C, to really leverage their brand online, right? How do we do that? What we tend to do is that to really take them into this discovery and strategy process to really understand what foundation do they have for their brand. Oftentimes they get lost in terms of who they're really targeting. We tend to hear like, yeah, I target everybody, but no, you don't really. You don't target everybody. Or sometimes they have like a specific type of target audience. Let's say I'm targeting women between the age of 25 to 35. Well, that's still very broad. Who are you talking to? And there's so many times that I've talked to different women founders that they overlook who it is that they're trying to serve, right? On top of that, having the foundation they need to thrive in terms of that brand positioning that they need to leverage, and also the communication that they want to convey towards their audience. If you really look at it, right, when you build a business, the sole purpose of building a business is to create customers. When you don't create customers, your business will die. So that's how we tend to help, these women founders. And on top of that, we are a nerd. Well, not a nerd, like we are a team of nerds, to be honest. So we have, techies and nerds, graphic designer, creatives, all of us banded together to really, help these women-led founders have a trajectory they are looking for online. So we transform their website from just a simple website to something that they can truly, see conversion on and making it their gold mine. So that's us.
Oh my God, I love it. You're helping other women like you build their companies, and it's amazing. I love that. So here, listen up. So if you're a woman in fintech or DTC, which is direct to consumer brand, which means like you have a product or a service that you're delivering to your consumers via some type of website or digital application, please reach out to Ari. She is also a mentor. She will help you through see-ka-lo-fia with your branding strategy and growing your customer base. But she's also a speaker. So if you do want to invite her to speak at your company and talk about all these amazing things, please do so as well. Did I do you justice?
Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry, say that again?
Did I do you justice?
Oh my God! Yes, that is beautiful. Thank you. Just one clarification though, it's not fintech; it's femtech. So I know it's a very new term. Yeah, femtech, female health and wellness technology.
Thank you for that. Yes, I heard fintech, but I appreciate that. So it is femtech, which means feminine, fem technology, or is it? Is it led by women technology?
No,
is that what that means?
It's female health and wellness technology.
Female health and wellness technology. Yes. But is it specifically targeting to female health and wellness? Yes. Got it. So it is even like more niche. Mm-hmm. It's like, give me a few examples of what femtech is.
Do you know that the period underwear thing? That's a femtech. Another one. So do you know a company called Cora, which what do you call that? The cup for menstruation?
The Diva cup.
That's a femtech too. Or if you know a really cool company that's all about being awkward. It's called Awkward Essentials. They have this thing called Dripstick that basically help women get excess semen out of their vagina. So that's a femtech.
Oh, interesting. Look into that actually. So there's this woman that I follow, and her name is escaping me, and I should know her, but she's like this awesome pharmaceutical lady. She dresses in pink. I'll send you the link. She's really cool. And she is she's trying to push to market the first female Viagra.
Ooh, so that's so cool. Yeah, I would love to chat with her.
Is that something, is that femtech?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. All right, great. So believe it or not, we're at time, and I wanna just ask you a few outro questions if you don't mind.
Yeah,
What is one book that you have gifted the most? Or it could be a resource or a podcast, whatever it is.
Yeah, the one book that I give out the most would be this one from Ellen Dibb. It's called One Page Marketing. So definitely take a look at that one because it truly helps you map out how do you leverage what you already have. You might not even realize that you have everything you need to do marketing, but in a more strategic way. So that's One Page Marketing from Ellen Dibb.
Love it. What is one book you would write?
I would write? Mm-hmm. I'm writing one right now, actually. So I'm writing one right now with my husband. It's a book all about our process and how do we really take on branding on the digital space and leveraging your website to create more conversion or creating winning websites. But if I'm not writing this, I envision myself writing things around getting women the resources they need to push themselves forward. I think as I was growing up, even right now with my sisters, I think they're really, really stuck, right, in their life right now with all things around technology and even tourism are contradicting in their life. Do we lean towards technology or do we stay in tourism, right? I feel like we have been in tourism for so long as an island in Bali. To pivot into something else during this pandemic can be really scary. And I think a lot of people felt that. So maybe that will be my second book. We'll see.
I would love to read that. I think that would be so inspirational, especially coming from you and your story. Because even though you came from a country that is patriarchal, you have so much power in you as a woman. And I've enjoyed thoroughly listening to your story. So I thank you so much for sharing that with me, educating me about the Femtech health space and about your company. So thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been my pleasure.
Honestly, it's my honor, Maria. Thank you so much for having me. You have been the amazing host for this, and I cannot wait to also listen to all the other episodes as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo! There you have it. I hope you liked this episode, and please don't forget to share, like, comment on the podcast link. Tell all your networks and friends and family about it. Submit a recommendation for guests at www.unboss.io. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Donate by clicking on the anchor link and help me continue to make great episodes. You can find all this information on www.unboss.io. See you next time. Oh, that was good.